You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Last night, you spent 2 hours deciding what to wear to the party. This morning, it'll take you 2 minutes to list it on Depop and make your money back. Just grab your phone, snap a few photos, and we'll take care of the rest. The sheer dress and platform heels you'll never wear again? There's a birthday girl searching for them right now. Your one-and-done look is about to pay for your next night out. Or at least the ride home. Your style can make you cash. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast. This week, I am talking to my dude, Danny Songhurst. Danny Songhurst is responsible for a company that I think needs more attention because Slide is cool. Now, I'm terrible at Slide, as I mentioned on this podcast episode multiple times. However, I am a lot less terrible at Slide than I used to be, and that is in big part thanks to one of Danny's products. I've actually had this Ariel Posen signature rock slide for, I don't know, probably like 6 years or so, maybe longer. I bought it at a local store here, Portland Music Company, and it's been my go-to ever since. It fits great. See, that's the thing. It actually fits. Now I'm making this sound like an ad. This is not an ad. This is a genuine user review, I guess. This slide has made me better at Slide. It really has. It's more comfortable. It's easier to use. It looks cool. It's not going to break. So yeah, I guess there's an ad. I'll send you a bill, Danny. I'm joking. But I got to know Danny later after the fact. I met him at NAMM and we had some conversations and I realized, man, this guy makes such cool stuff. I need to talk to him and get the full story because I know there is a story here. Because even the simplest things often take a different route than you would expect to get to your guitar. So without further ado, let's talk to Danny Songhurst of the Rock Slide. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland. With me today, I have Danny Songhurst. What's going on? It is not very often, I will say, that I queue up a guest, even though we're going to talk roughly maybe about guitar stuff, that I queue up a guest and they've got more guitars in the shot than I do. And I think you might have me beat on this one.
Well, we could take a 360 tour. This is kind of generally my strat wall behind me, but all I ever wanted from the time that I was about 14 was a life surrounded by guitars and amps. And, so I feel like at least on some levels I've accomplished that, which is nice. I probably need to play them a little more than look at them, but yeah, beautiful. Lots of colors, lots of cool stuff around.
I relate to that in a big way. And it took me a while as an adult to figure out, I'm like, wait a minute. You've totally gotten off track. Like, you got to kick this back on the rails. There's almost no guitars in your life other than, when you go home and you're too tired to play them. You got to figure out how to do this. So yeah, well, let's start there. So when did the guitar bug bite you, and we can progress into the full story and how you're doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, I mean, probably 8th or 9th grade, I heard a band that many of you know called Nirvana I'm 45, so like I was kind of around in junior high when the grunge thing was popping. And that really changed it for me. It didn't hurt that I had an uncle named Mark Morris who owned a guitar shop. And I was over in Seattle area, but he was in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a pretty good connection on that. When I did get ready to buy a guitar, he helped me get my first guitar, which was a PV Predator. And I
Nice.
put a lot of shredding in on that thing. I was one of those guys that carried it to school. Um, I think most people that remember me from junior high will remember me having a guitar over my back and getting kicked out of class so I could sneak off to my locker and go play for 5 minutes or take a bathroom break when I didn't need to go. Um, yeah, it really, yeah, it was always very important to me from an early age. So that's kind of when I got bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your uncle, but were there other musical people in your family as well?
So my mom's a great musician. She played piano in bands in the 70s and stuff. She played a Wurlitzer and a Rhodes, kind of in a rock band where they would cover some Boston type of stuff. And yeah, so she was always super supportive when when I told her I was ready to get a guitar. Um, Unlike a lot of moms, like I was doing terrible in school, and she wasn't like, well, you can't have a guitar because you are getting straight D's, you know. She was like, well, maybe if we get this kid a guitar, that'll give him something, you know. And I'm really grateful that she did do that. So
Yeah.
and then my best friend, Jim Terrell, growing up, he lived near me and he was also a really good guitar player. He beat me to it by a few years and was shredding. You know, he was one of those guys that could play quite a few Van Halen licks and stuff like in junior high and one of those
Mm-hmm.
guys you kind of hate because they're so good. And yeah, so he was always there for me. And then just my uncle. When we would come over to Spokane for holidays or in the summertime to go to the lake, he was a great guitar player. Did Zeppelin covers and Rush and had an original band. So he would, sit with me and show me a few guitar licks as we could when we weren't grilling burgers or whatever. So
That's
you
a good
know,
time. That sounds
but
great.
yeah, I definitely had some help along the way, getting into it, and my mom allowed us to rock out to Offspring, and actually, she took me to an Offspring concert when I was about 14, and I got to. That was back in the day, like when you could get into the mosh pit and you didn't have to pay extra to be up front, and I got to crowd surf for the first time, and
Yeah.
really a life changing experience for me. So, yeah.
I can remember this. It's been a while since I've crowd surfed. I'm not gonna lie, but not been that long since I've been in a mosh pit. I tell myself I still go to these same like hardcore shows and punk shows and stuff, and
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm like I'm gonna stay out of the pit this time. You're almost 40 years old. You can't be doing that. That's so
Yeah.
silly.
Well,
That
when you
lasts.
do
You know,
when you do hit 40, you'll leave the mosh pit with a twisted up back or something. So
I'm not gonna preemptively quit. I don't think. I'm just gonna wait till it happens.
yeah, right. That's a good spirit. I like that.
Yeah, I keep telling myself, I'm like, yeah, stay out of it, man. This is not for you. And then I'm like, nah, I got to get in there. I got to get in there. Let's go. And so far, so good. I haven't had anything too crazy. All my like mosh pit like damage happened when I was a little bit crazier. I'm a little more aware in there these days.
Yeah, yeah.
than I was
Watching
back
out
in the
for
day.
elbows and all of that.
Yep, you still catch them, but it's all right. It's part of the fun.
Yeah, anymore, and I kind of hate to admit this, but I really like to pay for seats now at a concert because, man, after a couple hours of standing, especially if some of these shows where there's two or three, four bands playing, I'm like, man, I gotta sit down, So,
Mm-hmm. Yep. But then you
um,
get tired from sitting. You're like, oh, I gotta stand up. I'm
yeah,
old and I can't do anything right. This is
yeah.
I just kind of watch it from a laying position. Is that a thing we can do?
Yeah, and I've been doing a lot of that the last couple of years. I've got daughters now that are well, they're 17 and 18 now, but they're we started going to a lot of concerts. My youngest daughter, Maya, is super into the 90s grunge music, and
Nice.
it was perfect timing because a lot of those bands are coming back around. So I mean, we've been to I mean, I couldn't even possibly name them all, but probably 15 or 20 kind of what I would call 90s and early 2000s bands in the last few years. So watching her, just kind of rock out and get her hair flying. I don't have any hair anymore, but it's fun. It brings back a lot of memories, and it's fun to share those experiences. And a lot of those bands, I mean, I was living in a car for part of that time. I had no money. So even though I grew up in Seattle, I never saw Pearl Jam or Soundgarden, a lot of those bands. So as they've been coming back around, we've been catching every one that we can. And we're lucky, at least in Spokane, to have a few cool venues where a lot of those guys will stop in, or we're just about 4.5 hours from Seattle. So like when Green Day comes through, or some of those bigger acts that don't hit Spokane, we'll pop over there for the night and catch those. So
Yep. Yeah,
yeah.
Seattle. I'm similar. I'm down in Portland, Oregon. So
Okay.
yeah,
I was
Seattle
thinking
is.
you were in Nashville, but
Everybody else in Stringjoy is.
okay.
But me, well, almost everybody. There's a couple remote people, and I'm one of them. So
Okay.
yeah, yep. I'm out in Portland, and so I've been to Seattle for a few things, and hey, what's that?
They got cut out of frame, it looks like, but I love Stringjoy strings, by the way. Great
Thank you
stuff.
so
But
much.
yeah, sorry,
Really
cut you off
appreciate
there,
it.
man.
But yeah, we've been up to Seattle for a couple very memorable moments. Excuse me, with the kids. Metallica. I took them to see Metallica and
Oh
Pantera.
man,
They loved that.
that's incredible.
And then My Chemical Romance when they came back. That is. Whoa, I'm wearing the shirt. Look at that. My youngest's very favorite band. He's obsessed. Like he's turned into like a 13-year-old from the early 2000s, and he's even though he's about to turn 7.
Yeah,
So-
that's awesome, man. I mean, that's awesome. That's not a bad way to be. There are worse things you could be into for sure. So
it
that's
helps being in the biz a little bit, because
Yeah.
Dad sometime once in a while, and my Chem's one of those. Like I'm like, hey, Dad knows some of those guys. Maybe
Yeah. Yeah,
makes me look a little bit cooler, maybe slightly. Hopefully,
Yeah, that's definitely been fun. Yeah, I mean, kind of same deal for me. I don't want to sit here and name drop or anything, but we've gotten to, go backstage and get pictures with some of these people. And yeah, it's been just a hoot for me and my mom, because she's also turned into quite a 90s and early 2000s rock and roll grunge fan. So yeah, it's been fun. A lot of fun for sure.
yeah. Well, we could probably sit here and nerd out on various bands that we enjoy and dad life.
Yeah,
Maybe we will. But I
Time to
want to
shift
get in.
gears.
Yeah, let's shift. I don't. We can get into cars too. That's dangerous territory.
I love cars, man. I've got a 32 that I'm working on in the other room that I just built a motor for with my dad. So
a 32. What?
Ford 5-window coupe.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I like 30s cars. Kind of skip most of the 40s. Try 550s and then 60s muscle cars. I like, and I like sports cars too, but I've never had anything like that. But yeah, 30s Fords. I've got a couple cars in that realm that are just fun to drive. They put a smile on everybody's face from the you could drive by a gang or a 7-year-old or a group of Harley guys. They're all just like, dude, nice car, man. So it's, yeah, a lot of fun. Put smiles on faces. That's what I'm all about, man. I like to put smiles on faces.
100%. Yeah, I've got a 69 Camaro my dad and I built when I was a teenager, and we just
still have
got
it?
all. Oh yeah. It's my baby. Got it all polished up last weekend and took it around, and the boys love riding in it, and my wife gets embarrassed because everybody does exactly what you're just describing. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
hey,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and she's like, don't look at me. I'm like, no, this is the fun part.
That's kind of how my wife is, you know. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't get why you like the attention. I'm like, well, I don't really like the attention. I just love the cars myself. I grew up, and funny you said that because my first car was a '69 Chevelle, which
Nice.
we bought for $600. It didn't run. It was kind of a rust bucket, and I got it when I was about 14 and a half. And by the time I was 16, my dad and I had a little 327 Corvette motor in it and had put a new
Mm-hmm.
transmission and basically did everything but the rear end and the paint on it. But we did get it as far as primer. And sadly, that car was rear-ended by a dump truck. Nobody was in the
No.
car, but it shoved the rear end like, thank God nobody was in it because it shoved the rear end basically up into the front seat, and
Oh, whoa.
nothing really salvageable on that. So
No, man, that sucks. But
yeah,
yeah, good. I'm glad no one was in it. That's
yeah,
that's great news actually that nobody was
yeah,
in it. But R.I.P. the '69 Chevelle. I do love a '69 Chevelle. They're beautiful.
yeah, yeah. The Camaros are sweet too. I love those. I love those.
It's my favorite car. It's kind of I feel really lucky. I'm like aesthetically, obviously there's faster cars, there's better handling cars,
Oh
there's
yeah,
like but I love that I drive it and I get it parked wherever I'm going and I turn around and I look at it and go, yeah.
yeah. I do that too, man. I just
Yeah.
kind of I take it to the grocery store or every day
Hmm.
when I do my rock slide drop off order at the UPS store. I
Hmm.
get out of it and I turn around and I'm like, man, that's cool. You know?
Yep. Yep. I'm an enthusiast. Like I do the same thing when people drive by me and something cool. I'm like that guy. I'm on the other side. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Woo, let's go.
Yeah. For
Yep.
sure,
I don't
man.
know what it is about cars. They get the blood pumping.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
similar to guitars in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, though they're
They
completely
go
different.
together.
Yeah.
They go
Yeah.
together very well.
Well, let's get into the rock slide stuff. I want to talk
Yeah.
about this. How did this all come to be? And I mean, I've got I knocked it on the ground. My Ariel Posen one's usually sitting right here by my monitor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I got one of his. Yeah, right here.
Hmm.
That's a slide that I play a bit. Also, being a pinky player, generally, like any of my small stuff fits. And the Ariel, just a quick side note, is a him and Joey came through when they were in the Bros Landreth together, and they a couple
Hmm.
times actually, and they stayed here when they were passing through or playing nearby, and like Joey was playing our medium on his pinky, but it was a little too big, but he liked the length, and the fit of the small was perfect. The exact same story for Ariel, but it was a little too short. So in both of those cases, the Joey and the Ariel signature, it's just a stretched out version of our
Hmm.
small. So a lot of people buy those because, you know, Joey played it or Ariel played it, but really many people actually just need the regular one. But Joey and Ariel are, you know, north of 6 foot. They got fairly long fingers, and so they needed that little bit of extra length. But yeah, I mean, did you want to talk about the roots of the rock slide? Is that where you were
Yeah,
going?
I want to talk about the company history. We've
Yeah, I mean,
really kind
it's
of went
a
all the way away from it. I want to get back and tell me about it. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a great family story. I told you about my uncle Mark, and there's you know a little bit of sadness here, and but he told you my uncle was a great player, and he played in bands all through the 70s and 80s. That's Mark Morse. He still uh, has a storefront here in town, although he has passed on. But Mark's Guitar Shop here in Spokane, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically where the rock slide started, and he actually came up with the idea, not me, in 1999, 2000. He was sick of, I mean, if you think about it back then, there weren't really any slides. There was medicine bottles and there was pieces of pipe or pieces of glass that were cut to length and people were using them as slides, but there wasn't I don't want to say there wasn't. I can't really think of one where somebody really said, hey, let's make an intentional guitar slide that's just made for slide, right? It's not a medicine bottle. It's not a bicycle handlebar. It's not made for wrenching on your car. It's not like a Lowell George socket, something like that. And his big problem was always having to shove like wads of tissue paper into the slide to keep it from wobbling around. So he came up with the idea and said, well, dang, why don't we make a tapered interior slide so that it's tight at the knuckle and tight down here. And an analogy that I use a lot of the time is that if you were like a size 10 shoe, you wouldn't walk around very well like in a size 13 shoe, which is what many people still do with slides, because there's a lot of information out there saying, hey, you need a slide that covers all 6 strings and weighs 9 pounds and all that stuff. And we just approach it differently. But sadly, my uncle, that was the guy I was telling you about that really kind of helped me get into guitar, got me my first Les Paul and all that for a killer deal. He passed away in 2006. He was diagnosed with cancer in maybe late '04, early '05, and they said, you don't have much time left. And
Oh man.
And then so he passed away in, I want to say, July or August of 2006. So he only had the rock slide for roughly 5 years in the market, and then my aunt kept it for a few years after that. My aunt Chris, super cool gal, but she's not a guitar player. Doesn't care about slides or guitar or anything. And after a period of time, she was ready to let go of it, and she was talking to Brian Bassett of Foghat and a couple other potential buyers, including my cousin, who was Mark's son, and just nobody was interested in it. And I was at that time, I had a culinary degree, so I was working in restaurants and I was roasting coffee, but always a guitar player, and I was building guitars at that time, which is that's another story. That's a business like many guitar builders that I basically tanked and kind of
Maybe we'll get into
drove
that.
my family into bankruptcy because I just couldn't let go of it. But around that time, she was like, "Hey, man, if you want this, I have a lot of inventory," and she was very kind and kind of fronted me the loan to get the inventory. I did sell at the time. I had a 1941 Dodge, so I sold that and gave her the money and took over the company. So I guess now I've had it 15, 16, 17 years or something like that. And at the time I took it over, there was just the 3 slides, really. We had 6 SKUs. So there was the small, medium, and large brass, and then there was the small, medium, and large chrome-plated brass. And just, she wasn't really doing sales calls at that time anymore. Like, my uncle was a hustler. He was a NAMM guy. He was a NAMM member. He went every year. He had a lot of connections with distributors. So he had it going pretty good. But after 3 or 4 years of it just kind of sitting after his passing, there was a few web orders rolling in, a few dealers still ordering. We had a Japanese distributor that was still ordering, a guy in the UK, and quite a few USA stores that were still ordering. So then I guess that brings us to today. We have about maybe 45 SKUs because I don't know when to quit. So, and I know there was a big market for glass, but I think he would have done that too. But just it's hard to figure out how to make a tapered interior glass slide in bulk. So it took me several years and several processes and different suppliers to figure out like how we could do it and make them consistent. So now we've got like kind of extra small, kind of like t-shirt sizes is what I tell people. Basically in the brass and the glass, I have extra small through extra large, and I will do some custom stuff occasionally. And then recently, I mean, in the last few years, it's kind of a dog in general. Ceramic slides, they're just not super popular. I don't know why. They're pretty cool, but we went ahead and launched those. So I've got like the small and the medium ceramic in a few different colors. Yeah, so keep firing questions at me, man. Otherwise, I'll keep rambling forever.
Well,
Hey, Rocky,
What's up, Vincent?
did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff. Well, I wanted to say, so you maybe this can tie into talking about the guitar business too, but you've been doing this a lot longer than a lot of people get the opportunity to, right? It's pretty well known and a pretty it's been regurgitated a lot in various media sources that most small businesses don't last longer than a year.
Yeah.
But you said like the guitar business was really challenging, and you almost lost it all there. But
Oh,
you've
yeah.
been able
I
to
mean,
hang on. Like, what are some things you've learned over this time that would help somebody maybe trying to get into this industry or anything where you're selling direct to consumers and retailers and all that stuff?
yeah. So direct to customer is a very small portion of our business. I do keep the website alive, and we do sell on there. That's just because, I mean, we get a lot of people that don't have a store where they are, or maybe they're in Switzerland and the nearest store is, 120 kilometers away or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And I do get those loyal fans that just like me, and I don't know why, but I think coming from the service industry and the restaurant training, I give good service. I mean, if you email me, even if it takes a whole bunch of conversations back and forth for like $130 slide sale, I'll sit there and do it, and I don't have any problem doing it. But back to like the beginning, failure was just not an option for me. I mean, I was about 70 grand in high interest credit card debt and student loans and stuff like that. So I just sat there. I had a job, like I said. I was roasting coffee full time and doing sales for a company in town here. Um, and then I would squeeze in another 8 hour day. I would do it in the morning and the night, and I would do cold calls all day long. I would sit there on Google and I would get as complete of a list as I could of every single guitar store in every city. Um, and I would just call them over and over and over and over until they finally said yes. And you kind of got to dig deep because it is depressing. And so if you're getting into it and you're new and you've called 25 people that day, and 24 of them or maybe 25 have said, no, don't call me anymore. We don't care about slides or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of have to, you got to take it, man. And you got to be polite, and you have to say, thank you very much. And then you got to call them back in 2 weeks. Maybe you get
Mm-hmm.
somebody else on the phone. Maybe that guy was having a really bad day. You just try to not take it personally. Keep calling. And if you believe in your cause, and at least in the case of the rock slide, I feel like I can say this too, and like I'm not bragging because I didn't even invent it, but like it was just a really great product. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the times that really gave me hope were those guys that did say yes. Like I remember I called Nate, the owner, one of my good buddies of Mark's Guitar Shop. He bought it from my aunt, and I said, "Hey man, besides Mark's Guitar Shop, what's the greatest guitar store in the country?" This was maybe 15 years ago, and he said, Chicago Music Exchange. So, and I hadn't heard of them because I was kind of new into looking up retail stores, and I looked them up and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh man. So I called them and I got a hold of Dan Bordenaro, super cool dude. He was one of the main purchasers at the time. And he was really nice to me, and he just said, yeah, man, why don't you, send me a demo. And I sent him a demo, and I followed up with him maybe a week or two later, and he goes, dude, these are cool, man. Send me 50, your choice. And that was the biggest sale I'd ever had. That was like a $500 PO.
Mm-hmm.
And little times like that give you hope. And when you do get those, at least for me, it kind of erased like the other 50 people that told me to kick rocks that day. Same with like Portland back in the day. There was Pro Guitar Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I called them and sent them a demo, I sort of was met with the same thing. They were like, wow, these are actually really cool. So I do think part of it is you got to be polite, you got to be likable, and you got to be willing to be told no, even sometimes in a rude way. Although I haven't met a lot of rudeness, but some guys they're really busy. They're running a store. They got 500 people calling them. They might not want to talk to you, but just relish in those little wins, and let them carry you through is what I would say. And if your product is good, people will eventually take notice of that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, to summarize, just keep going, man. And you're always going to have haters. That's always true. Anybody that's mildly successful will tell you that. So you just you gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta push through, and you gotta find, if you listen to any of these really high level people that, business coach type people, surround yourself with positive people that are lifting you up, and maybe even a little bit ahead of where you are. And it kind of motivates you to just push through.
Yeah, I think that is, even though it gets talked about a lot on the interwebs, I actually think it's a little bit underrated still, is the people that you are with. And you don't have to physically be with them as much as used to be required, of course. But
Yeah.
I mean, my partner Scott has had a major impact on my life just from the simple fact of, like, in the early days especially, him having like a vision and actually being like, yeah, we're gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do. And then him telling me, like, you can do this other thing, that you're doing. Like, having that encouragement from some external source helped me a lot. Be like, oh, this guy's going places. I'd like to go places with him, you know? And he actually sees it's possible and he's executing on it. And I think that's a big difference between somebody who's, wishing and hoping that something will come along and happen versus hopping on the phone and taking that call.
You have
and
to
doing
take
that.
action.
You got to.
There's a funny Jim Carrey quote that pops in my mind every now and then, where he was like, yeah, you got to visualize, you got to think about it. You really got to focus, but then you can't just sit down on a couch and eat a sandwich, like you gotta go do it. You got to go do it too. And you may fail, but, yeah, Scott's an incredible guy. I've enjoyed running into him at NAMM. Hard to get a word in with him at NAMM. He's so busy because Stringjoy's got such a great business and following. The other thing, I mean, I my one regret about being in slides, and I didn't know this at the time, but like a loaf of bread or like strings, or like toilet paper. It's like a consumable. You buy a pack of strings, you put 3 months of hard work on them, you change them, you get a new set. Where some businesses, kind of like a guitar slide, for example, if I sell you this brass rock slide here and you don't ever lose it, it's not going to break. I may be your favorite guy in the world, and you may just love this slide more than any other slide that you've ever tried on in your life. And you also may never buy another slide from me because, it's basically a lifetime product. So, so I've thought about it. I've thought about it myself, because I was like, and Songhurst strings has a nice ring to it. Songhurst straps has a nice ring to it. I could sell picks. There's a number of things I could sell. I have manufacturing connections, and a certain percentage of people would buy them from me just because I had them. But so far, I've stuck true to slides, man. I mean, that's another thing you got to be cautious on. You can't just make everything. I'm passionate about slides. I love the sound. I love the soulful vocal quality that you can get. I mean, you can make your guitar sound like Aretha Franklin singing. And so I just feel like I'm lucky to be here. And even though I kind of fell into it, I have learned that it's kind of my spot in this big music industry of saxophones and microphone stands and guitar amplifiers. And I also do a lot of metal aging. So I thought, I could make aged guitar parts and all kinds of stuff. But going back to that question you asked me before, I think a lot of new business people get a little too carried away, and you lose focus, and you try to please everybody. That's actually why I mean, one of the reasons, and a big one, I think, why I failed at guitar building. Like, if I were going to fire up the guitar machine again, I wouldn't try to please anybody. I would make the probably two guitar models that I like, that I feel that I'm good at, that represent like what's important to me in a guitar. And then you find the people, or rather, the people find you that want what you make. So I got into a lot of trouble. I was a set neck guy, right? I like set necks. I like hollow bodies. I liked, even though I'm kind of surrounded by Strats and stuff, but I love Les Pauls. That was kind of my jam. But like, if a guy came along or a gal that said, "Hey, can you make me a Telecaster, but do it with a set neck and a Bigsby and a P90 and a Strat pickup in the middle and a humbucker," I'd be like, "Yeah, I can do that," and I would do it almost every time. That customer wasn't happy. I was stressed out. I wasn't happy. I had three times as much energy and time into that guitar because like I didn't have even like the pick guard templates. So without rambling too much, stay focused, and I think that's been part of my success. So when I think of launching new products, as tempting as it may be to get into other stuff, I'm like, well, I don't know, like maybe like a line of purple guitar slides would be cool, or something like that. Instead of getting into other stuff. And I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from getting into other stuff, because I know some distributors that I work with that make all kinds of stuff, and they sell all kinds of stuff to stores and all kinds of people. So you can do it, but focus is important. And a lot of people kind of blow up their whole system because they get a little too carried away and a little too excited about getting scatterbrained. And it's easy because a lot of us, and I certainly am in this category, I get ADD, or I have ADD and always have, and so it's really easy for me to be like, oh, maybe I should, whatever, do this. And you really got to focus on what you're good at and what your customers want, and what you're known for. And then if you do find yourself sitting there with a bunch of free time and a bunch of extra money, then, yeah, go mess around with some stuff, but make sure you're secure first, I would say.
Yeah, I've had a big, like, I don't know, something that I don't know what you would call it exactly, but I am like that too. I'm like, oh, there's a new project. Oh, there's a cool thing over here. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, maybe there's things other than music that I like. Maybe we should try to get something going in the automotive space. Maybe we should get something going in the food space. I love all this stuff. Let's do it. And my brain has a tendency to kind of start getting a little sidetracked with that stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was stemming from, I look at this industry, even though I love it and I worked really hard to get into it, there for a little bit I was going, man, this industry is really small. I've said it on the podcast many times, like, this industry is barely big enough to be an industry. It's the total MI revenue annually is about 5 days of Walmart sales. It's crazy. It's nuts. But I love it, and I love the people in it, and I love the customers and the people I get to interact with. Like, it's really, really enjoyable, and that's why I worked so hard to get into it. But there for a little bit, I was kind of like, maybe it'd be more fun to be like a small fish in a big pond rather than maybe like a medium-sized fish in a small pond. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. But I read a book, and it was on recommendation from Scott and Colt over at Walrus. He recommended the same book, and this book is kind of a dry business systems book. It's called Traction.
Okay, and I haven't heard of that one, but I should check it out.
It's good. It's really about implementing the system that we're working on at Stringjoy right now, but it's not the most exciting read. I will say. Yeah. But there was I love it when this happens. There was a moment in the book where the guy said something that really resonated with me, and it was something I apparently really needed to hear. And that was, he's helped hundreds of businesses over his consulting career, and all business owners tend to do this. They're like, oh man, if I was in that industry, that would solve this problem that I have in this industry. Oh, if I was doing that over there, that's a bigger industry. I could make more money or more revenue or whatever. And he's like, the reality is none of these businesses are easy. They all have their own unique challenges and unique things they got to go through. The grass is not greener on the other side, despite what you might think. He's like, what you need to do is identify the business that you're in and be in that business and just focus on that. And I was like, oh, I really needed to hear that.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Good Hertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblissaudio.com. I think you're going to like what you find.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I've come up with all kinds of ideas for airplane products, cooking gadgets, stuff for even toilets. I mean, my brain never stops. So I've really had to work hard on just, reeling it in and like that book is talking about, just focus on your thing. And like another person I like to listen to, Simon Sinek, start with why. Like, why do we even do this? Like, why are we here? And it's not to make money, that's always, that's just a byproduct. Like, hopefully you make money, but like, why do we get out of bed every day? And, that kind of stuff. And I agree with you. I mean, I've thought that too. I jokingly say, man, I should have got into the oil business or like learned how to become a stockbroker or something. But
ironically, I came from the oil industry.
Oh, funny. I just don't think I'd be happy, like when I go to NAMM, like these are my people, man. I love it there. I love the freaks. You got the people in the business suits, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just kind of musicians, and we all hang out, and it's just it's a great industry to be in, especially if you like music. If you don't like music, I don't know why you would even be in it. And it seems like everybody that I encounter is definitely a musician or used to be or is going to be at some point,
Yeah, for sure. I've met a handful of people, usually at NAMM, that aren't musicians in this industry, and you can tell they're a little bit confused.
Oh,
like not that they don't know what they're doing for their job. That's not what I mean at all. I mean, they're like, I don't know why you guys are so into. That's just another Les Paul. Yeah, but look, it's a white one, and
right.
Like they're a little confused on the psychology of musicians, and we don't really have to explain it to each other. We're like, dude, that's sick, right? That's sick.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. And yeah, maybe we're all a little messed up, but I love it. That's what's great about it.
Why do you need 6 Stratocasters? They all sound basically the same. It's because they're different colors, man. I need a sparkle green one, and I need my sparkle yellow one, and I need a Daphne blue one. You know, I mean, I think, my wife fully accepts that, but I don't think she'll ever understand it. And she doesn't really have like a crossover thing where, you know, other than books, which are very cheap compared to guitars.
Are we the same person? That's what my wife's big thing is books as well.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, sounds like it. The 69 Chevelle and the kids into the rock music, but that's funny, man.
Yeah. That is really funny. Yeah, she doesn't really understand it, but my wife is really into music, which is interesting.
Yeah.
She's a big music fan, though she doesn't care to make it. She just she just enjoys it. And that was never how I was going to be. I was a big music fan first before I was playing, of course, but I was always like, how do I do that? That guy in that flannel doesn't look too different from me. I'm pretty sure I could bang out some power chords and yell into a microphone. I'm pretty sure.
And I gotta say, speaking of my wife, I have to give her a shout out. And whoever your person is, if you're married, if you're not married, whatever kind of relationship you're in, like, make sure you're supportive of that person and that they support you. And she certainly did and does. And we've been married about 19 years now. And she, I mean, man, if it weren't for her, I also think this slide business would have tanked more than once because she runs all of the books. She's a professional accountant. She wasn't back then when we started, but she learned how to do it. She learned QuickBooks. She was supportive. I remember one time, so funny, when she really learned that I needed the help because I am not organized, I was looking all over for our business license, like our master business license. I needed to scan it in and send it to somebody. And she found it in the trash can. And she was like, man, like this freaking guy, he can't do it on his own. And she had been mostly a stay-at-home mom and working part-time a little bit, like when our girls were really young. And she stepped up and took the part, and she still does the books, but it's a little easier now because we've gone the distributor model. So back then I was selling to hundreds and hundreds of individual dealers. So there was lots of paperwork, lots of invoices. And now I don't think I do any direct sales other than a few stores overseas, wherever. But even there, mostly we go through distributors. So easier on her. But yeah, shout out to your person, whoever that may be. If they're helping you out, be good to them. Tell them thank you. And that's my number one pro tip, man. If you got somebody that's good to you, just really appreciate that and appreciate them.
I will piggyback on that with. I've told this story a few times on the podcast, but it's been a long time, about one of the dumbest things that I've ever done, which is, and there's be many more, but this is definitely up there. So I wasn't really on social media. I knew I wanted to do something in the guitar space. I didn't know what that was going to be. I didn't have the resources to like start a store, or I didn't know like can I start a brand? What, like I had no idea. I got to looking at some of the YouTubers and things, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do something like that. That seems like a way to get started that's not too risky, right? Because I was the sole breadwinner, and that was the deal. Like I was like, I'm providing, and you're taking care of the house and all that stuff, and that's the deal that we have agreed to, and that works for us. But I was like itching to get out of running a fuel terminal. I really didn't like it. It was a good job, but I really, really didn't like it. And so I started posting stuff on Instagram, and I thought, I don't know how this works, and strangers are liking it, and strangers are starting to follow the account, and I'm like, oh, this might be a thing. Weird. And I'd worked on it for a little bit, and then I was like, maybe I should start a podcast where I can interview people, because that doesn't seem to be a thing in this space currently. And I started doing that, and I did it for a little while. It started to get some pretty good traction right off the jump, and I did it for probably, if I had to guess, probably like 3 months, and maybe a little bit longer. And this is where I was dumb. I didn't tell my wife. I just started doing it. And then kind of thinking, like, if it doesn't work out, then whatever, I can just stop doing it and nobody has to know, and I won't be embarrassed or whatever. I don't know what was going on. There was not a solid logic to this at all. It was, and so I didn't tell my wife until, there was a fair bit of traction on it. And it was like, she's like, what are you doing on your phone all the time? And I'm like, I'm just, and she's like, I didn't know you had Instagram. What are you doing on Instagram? And I'm like, I'm just trying to like work on something. And then finally I told her, I was like, I'm sorry, I should have told, and she was like, you're an idiot. Why didn't you tell me this in the first place? Because it was like kind of this weird, I was like unsure of myself, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing until it was already happening. And then by the time it started happening, I was like, I really need to tell my wife I've been working on this project now that I have an idea of what it was. But I should have just told her in the first place, because she was always very, very supportive, but she was kind of weirded out, and I think rightfully so. Like, what are you doing, spending all this time on all this thing and not saying anything about it? You're just kind of doing it and being all not secretive, but also not telling me what's going on. So when you start to think that you want to do something, whatever that is, even if you're like worried that it's gonna fail or something, just don't do that.
I agree, man. Anything that I share with her, it always just becomes better. Or she's like, no, that's a bad idea, Mm-hmm. And I can't think of an example, but I know throughout our 19 years, I've done stuff like that too, where I was like, oh, I'm just going to do this and not tell my mom or, my wife or anybody. And I'm just going to like do it. And, people always find out eventually. And then it was always kind of weird. They're like, oh, why didn't you? Did you think I would judge you, or like, why would you not tell me that? I'm just always here to support you. Right.
Right. So. Yeah. And it wasn't an intentional thing, really. Kind of almost got out of control. Like, oh, it's working. I better tell you now, but I should have told you in the first place. And that was, I still feel bad about it, even though it was like 10 years ago, and she's well over it. And so am I, but like, it was a mistake. And like, she's been there 100% and always been supportive of what I was trying to do. And what she told me when I told her I think I'm ready to quit the job, she was like, as long as I can still go to Costco. That was the stipulation. I was like, well, I think I can make that happen.
It sounds like you have a keeper, and it seems like it worked out for you. So that's cool, man. I mean, and you took a plunge, you took a risk, and got out of a job that wasn't fulfilling for you. And, here you are. So then for me, I actually really liked the restaurant business, but the hours are terrible, and I don't care where you work, what job you have in the place, you always come home smelling like onions.
Every time.
You just do. Yeah. And so that's nice. It's nice to be able to go to bed at a reasonable hour and not be, wiping down a kitchen at, 11:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man. Well, hit me up. What else you got?
Well, we are knocking on the door. Yeah, we're knocking on the door of the end of the main episode, and I do have 2 classic questions I like to wrap these up with. But before I do that, I like to give the guests a chance to take the floor, shout out anybody you want to shout out, plug anything you want to plug, say hi to your aunt, like whatever. The floor is yours.
Hi, Mom. Yeah, actually, I should give a shout out to my dear mother, Laura Case, who has been a step family going on, so different last names, but she's always been the most supportive, and she's retired now, and she comes over about twice a week and helps me stuff all of my orders. She packs up inventory. Yeah, my wife, geez, I mean, I feel like I'm on the Grammy stage now. I don't want to forget anybody, but I mean, my distributor in the USA, OMG Music, those guys have been so great to me. There's really too many to mention that I couldn't even really think of who to shout out to, but I should have prepared for that.
No worries.
But yeah, I mean, my uncle, wherever he is, I mean, that was just a great thing that he invented here, and for getting me going on guitars. In fact, I told you I was a bad student, and he, being a music store owner, would hand me a flyer every year. And I never got to take him up on this, but he would give me the flyer of, like, let's say like Charvel or like Fender, whatever it was. And he'd be like, "Hey man, love you, dude, but you're effing up." He'd be like, "If you can get a C average, I'm going to give you this guitar. If you can get a B average, I'm going to let you pick from this guitar category. And if you can get straight A's, I'm going to let you pick, from this category." And, sadly I never did, but appreciative of him. And my stepdad, Mark, he's the car guy. He's been super supportive my whole life. I picked him out when I was about 8. I was like, "Mom, you picked out the first one, didn't work out so well, so I picked out the next one." He also was an engineer, civil engineer, but he knew how to do AutoCAD and all that stuff. So when I was getting going, he did all the rock slide drawings for me. Anytime I needed a mod, we'd go sit behind the computer, because I couldn't afford to pay these engineering firms, like, "Oh yeah, $5,000 and we'll make you a drawing," and I'm like, "Well, I got like $50, man. So can you do anything for that?" But yeah, just everybody in my life, my best friends, Mike Frederick, helping me out on guitar a lot. Yeah, all my dealers, distributors, rock slide fans, social media followers. And if you are on social media and you follow us and you get a comment or a response, which generally you do, always me. I'm the only one that does it. I enjoy interacting with people, so I'm a chatty Cathy.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe you need a podcast. You can do that too.
One day. There's that focus thing, though. I gotta stick to what I'm good at.
That's true. All right. Here's the final questions. First one. What is your favorite Boss pedal?
Do you want me to get up and get it?
If it's handy, sure. Why not?
I got it right here.
Perfect. Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, man. So this is it's funny that you asked. So this is a pedal that this is probably my first guitar pedal, and then I didn't have it for a lot of years. And I was just mentioning my buddy, Mike Frederick. I was mentioning to him about this, and he goes, "Dude," I got one of those laying around. I'll bring it over. So yeah, the DS1.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the 90s. I don't know if it's a 90s pedal or whatever, but that's when I certainly was introduced to it. And it was a lot of pedal for being fairly affordable. Just a killer distortion, I only kind of recently learned the difference between overdrive and distortion. Believe it or not, I'm like, most of my guitars are vintage, and I plug. This is I don't know if you can see it, just little teaser of it, but that was my uncle's 1957 Fender, and that's kind of my main amp. It's basically original, other than it's been redone, kind of new old stock RCA tubes and stuff like that. But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, Boss pedal, I'm going with that. Although I have had many of theirs, like, their chorus and flanger. I had all that stuff. Because how are you going to play that song? Was it Crash or Lightning Crashes or whatever? I mean, from the 90s, you need the flanger pedal for that.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah. If you're gonna do those come as you are riffs, you got to have the chorus.
That one too, for sure.
Yeah, of course. That's actually my go-to. I'm one of those people that, like, I don't really know how to play songs anymore. Like, I don't know how to play other people's music. I used to, that's all I did back in the day was learn covers. And now I've like forgotten most of it because I pick up a guitar and just play whatever flops out of me. And so I've kind of forgotten a lot of classic riffs that I used to know. But Come As You Are is my go-to modulation testing riff. I always play that.
Well, that's I'm the same way. I kind of forgot how to play for a lot of years when my girls were born. I hauled them to a coffee shop gig when they were young, and great kids, but it was just one of those, one of them was zooming all around the place. The other one had a meltdown, and I was like, I got to focus on dad mode and work. So, but now I started taking lessons again, and I would love to fire up. The dad band and probably do some originals and get back into some of those covers I love. No aspirations of a tour bus or traveling out of town or anything, but I would love to just go hammer out some bar gigs and watch all the drunk people dance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Maybe one day. Maybe this summer. I certainly have enough guitars, so all I have now is excuses.
I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
It's funny you say that. So I make a lot of pizza. I make a ton of sourdough bread as well. Just kind of a side note about me, a hobby. I have a little tiny side hustle. So Neapolitan pizza is my go-to. I like a very thin center with the big fat crust with a lot of air. And I'm probably just gonna go simple, like a pesto, vegetarian kalamata, and like caramelized onion or something like that. I'm not super into big greasy pepperoni sausage pizzas like I used to be. It just doesn't hit me as well in my 40s. So yeah, veggie pizza, man, Neapolitan crust.
Yep. Homemade, or do you have a favorite pizzeria nearby you want to plug?
Yeah. I mean, in town here, so I do have a wood-fired pizza oven, and I generally make them at home. But yeah, there's I don't know. I'm mostly disappointed when I go out for pizza in Spokane. However, if I was going to plug one, the Flying Goat near downtown, they'd probably outdo me. I mean, every time I go there, their pizza is absolutely incredible. It's one of those places too where you look at the menu and you're like, man, that pizza looks kind of weird. It's got like goat cheese and figs and arugula and maybe something that you never heard of on it. And every time, like a soft boiled egg or something, and you get it and you're just like, oh, this is the only pizza I'm ever going to eat. So
I've actually heard of that place before, the Flying Goat.
If you ever find yourself in Spokane, I would love to take you there. We'll jump in in fact, you can drive the 39 and I'll jump in the 32 and we can caravan down there.
Oh man, that sounds like a good time. I do.
As long as they're both running at the time.
That's always the caveat. Like, hopefully everything starts. I love old cars, but it can be a little hit or miss sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Danny, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. We'll slide over to Patreon and see what kind of nonsense we can get into over there.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm truly grateful. Anytime anybody thinks of little old me kind of in the slide category over here, it's great. I'm honored to be here on the show with you.
Yeah. Well, I like the products. I've been, kind of watching the company for quite a while, and it just occurred to me, I'm like, Boy, why don't you have him on the podcast? Like,
I'm
you
glad
know, you like
did.
what he does. Let's get the story. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yep. All right, everybody. For Danny, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. There you have it, folks. There's another episode in the can. Please make sure you check out Danny's products on his website or your local retailer that, if they don't stock them, they really should. So ask him about it. But don't take my word for it, the kind of crummy slide player that I am. If Ariel Posen and Joey Landreth use it, well, I think that probably says all that really needs to be said now, doesn't it? But what I can help you with is content. That's what I'm here for. I've got content for you. I've got an entire other podcast you can check out called Tape Spaghetti. I do it with my buddy Scott Marcourt. Yes, my friend and business partner of many, many years. We get on there and talk about weird musical things. I've got a very Portland-based musical episode coming soon that is pretty dark, if I'm being honest. It's pretty crazy. And if you need even more content, well, you can go to Patreon, where for $5 a month, you not only get access to the ad-free feed, you also get extra bonus episodes like the one this week with my dude, Danny Songhurst of the Rock Slide. Yeah, we get into cars real heavy on this episode because we're both hot rod guys and we have very similar tastes. So if you'd like to hear us talk about cars, go over there. Or if you'd just like to support the show, that would be amazing as well. Those people literally keep the lights on, and I thank them so much. Also, thank you for getting to this point, and please share this episode with a friend if you have not, or share any episode with a friend. That is honestly one of the most important things that anybody can do, is share this with somebody that they think would enjoy it. It really means the world and moves mountains and keeps this weird little independent show in people's feeds and keeps it on the digital airwaves. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to stop talking. You can get on with your day. I'll talk to you on the internet very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.